The Mosaic Templars is now recognized as one of the great endeavors in the history of Arkansas and Little Rock. Guided by the basic ideas of racial equality, economic parity, and self-help initiatives, the Mosaic Templars attained a peerless record of achievement. The story of the organization is documented in the History of the Mosaic Templars, its founders and officials, written by A.E. Bush and P.L. Dorman in 1924.
John Bush was an employee with Railway Mail Service at the time, and he and one of his fellow employees, Chester W. Keats, decided to form an organization to provide burial and life insurance for the black community in Little Rock.
The black fraternal movement was very, very important, and it fulfilled a number of roles for the black population. Part of it was economic. It was almost impossible for black citizens to get insurance for a whole variety of reasons, plain old racism being a primary cause. So the black fraternal groups started their own insurance programs, and for very modest amounts, a person could purchase, for example, a burial policy, so that when a person died, they could be buried, they could have a monument erected, and they would have a decent burial.
So it was very natural that the organization would be organized as a fraternal society that would offer insurance coverage to its members. I very quickly started expanding from Little Rock and Pulaski County into neighboring counties and all throughout the state of Arkansas, and then began spilling over into other states. By the time of its height in the 1920s, Mosaic Templars of America had chapters in 26 states and 7 foreign countries in the Caribbean. And it had thousands of chapters and tens of thousands of members. It was one of the largest black-owned business enterprises in the United States, and really, indeed, in the world at that time.
The Mosaic Templars of America was chartered in 1875, only 5 years after the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution had been ratified. The 15th Amendment guaranteed that the right to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Black people voted and held political office during this period. However, an undercurrent of racial prejudice led to the passage of the first Jim Crow laws in the 1890s.
It is important to recognize that for over a generation after the Civil War, we had a period in Arkansas and in much of the South where Jim Crow segregation was not the order of the day, where blacks and whites did, to a certain extent, collaborate in activities that would later become impossible. But it was in the 1890s, many years after the Civil War, when Jim Crow segregation was foisted off on us by political forces, and then all of a sudden it became practically impossible for whites and blacks to cooperate on anything.
The Mosaic Templars organization differed from other 19th century and 20th century fraternal societies because from the beginning, women were admitted to the lodges.
Unlike, say, the Freemasons, where women still are not admitted into the lodges themselves, but Mosaic Templars organization from the start, both men and women, were inducted into the fraternity. They went through the initiation ceremonies and rites. Women participated in the lodge meetings. And while it is true that the worthy Mosaic master, the sort of presiding officer in the lodge, was traditionally male, oftentimes the second most important in the lodge was the worthy Zipporah mistress,